story. I'm titling this A Sixth Grade Memory. Okay. Heads down! Lunch recess is over. With my arms folded on my desk and my face on top of them, I followed these instructions strictly. From this position, I felt the cool breeze blowing through the screened window and heard the rustling of leaves in the distance. I began my mindfulness meditation. Each day, my sixth grade math teacher, Mr. Sheridan, would give us something to focus on. It was a strategy. Silently, each student would imagine themselves completely on a task and doing that task successfully. It was up to each student to use their imagination. You could picture yourself doing like a math problem correctly, getting a really good grade on your writing assignment like you might in here, that big A at the top of the paper that might bring joy to you, and maybe it even go on that spot on the fridge with a magnet. I don't know about you, but that's the most honored place for any paper. But I always like to conjure up that great play I would make in the football game. Scoring that touchdown, helping the team to grasp a victory out of defeat. Why did we do this? I kept thinking to myself, why did we do this? A question I never had the courage to ask Mr. Sheridan, and nobody else did. Meditating in math class. This was never challenged by anyone until that one day Sister Mary inquired. She was a nun. And she looked like a nun that used to be in the military. She was like this. And she asked, point blank, she had these piercing eyes, broad shoulders, and she kind of spit when she talked. She was tough. And she asked Mr. Sheridan one day, point blank, in front of the entire class on a fall Friday. And I remember this day fondly because it was the day before we were going to play St. Matthew's. That was our crosstown rival. In this moment, in my mind, time stood still. It never dawned on me, why was this important that we take part in this daily ritual every day after recess? Until Sister Mary asked. Mr. Sheridan replied in a manner that has stuck with me forever. It was like a halftime speech in the locker room of a football game. He said, all heads up, eyes forward. Sister Mary is asking a very important question, and I want to make sure all of you hear and absorb my response. Every student looked upon his 6'4" frame. His eyebrows were like angled in a very determined look. Each and every day after recess and before we start classwork, we meditate so that we can clear our minds to fill them with positive thoughts of ourselves. We do this because we're all great people and we all have within ourselves the ability to do and be whatever we put our minds to accomplishing in life. All right, all heads back up, go down, and begin your meditation. So everybody did. As satisfied as ever seen Sister Mary, she nodded and said, very well then, and then she left the room. That year in my life was Mr. Sheridan's first year as a teacher. He was 22 years old and starting his career as a teacher and a coach at Royal Oak Shrine. Today, he is the linebacker coach for the Detroit Lions. And every now and then, I get to speak with him and we reminisce about my year that I had with him as a sixth grader. So that was my story.
Thank you, Mr. Hunwick.